99 Speed Rebirth, Outran Bolt to Football Glory. Welcome funds. Enjoy exclusive audiobook experiences right here. For full access to complete stories, visit my website or support me on Patreon, links are in the description. Episode 11 from the Bang Country? Then kick hard. The training time of the Fiorentina club is 10:30 every morning. Urged by Shi Xiaoyu, the lazy Veneto finally got up, and the two arrived at the training ground half an hour earlier. Although it is only a training ground for the reserve team, the lawn is in excellent condition. Like the first team, it is all natural turf with a very suitable depth. The turf is so delicate and beautiful that it makes people look like a desire to run. Looking at the top-notch natural turf, Shi Xiaoyu couldn't help but think of when he played football at Waxia University. The artificial turf of different shades was covered with white rice grains and black plastic grains. The shoes hurt people's feet. After all, it is an Italian professional club, and the training facilities are still very satisfactory. After arriving at the training point, there are about 30 players in all the reserve teams, standing in 2 rows. Veneto, as the big brother of the reserve team, stood in the middle of the first row without hesitation, with his head held high, looking at their reserve team coach Soriano. And Shi Xiaoyu, as a newcomer who came to try out, could only stand in the corner of the second row. His presence did not attract the attention of others. As a well-known club in Italy, every week, young players from all over the world come to try out. Some of them were scouts, some were poached from other clubs, and some were forced by sponsors. There are people at all colors and levels. The vast majority of people just pass by, play a game or two, stay for a week at most, and then leave. There are very few people who can stay and sign a professional contract with the club, 1 in 100. Therefore, although Soriano, the head coach of the reserve team, saw this Asian-looking person at a glance, he didn't care, thinking that it was pushed in by sponsors. Soriano has his own principles. Even if the relatives of the head of the club come to try out, if the strength is not enough, he doesn't use it. Although it is a reserve team, the Fiorentina club adopts a set of pass and control play from top to bottom, so from the first team reserve team to the youth team and children's team, the training methods. At the beginning of the training, it is a simple warm-up. After that it's passing practice. In addition to Shi Xiaoyu, there was also an Asian, Li Zhenwan from Banguo. Because there are only 2 of them Asians, the head coach Somarino arranged the 2 of them together to practice long passes with each other. Li Zhenghwan, who is from baseball country, had already been the main player of the Venetian team in the Italian C League for a year before his trial training with Fiorentina. This time for the trial training, Li Zhenghwan's goal is also very clear, which is to sign a professional contract with Florence. Although Li Zhenghwan was not tall, about 1.6 meters tall, but his eyes were treacherous, and he always looked sideways at people. Especially when he looked at Shi Xiaoyu, who is also Asian, his eyes were full of hostility and contempt. He had long heard that there was also a young man from Waxia Kingdom who came to the trial training together this time. Before this person came to Florence for training, he was just a member of the school team of a university in Daxia. A member of the school team who has never received professional training, since he can come to Florence for training, 80% to 90% is forced by the sponsor. Li Zhenwan thought to himself. He was very reluctant to be in a group with Shi Xiaoyu, and felt that Shi Xiaoyu's basic skills must not meet the standard, which would affect his performance. Hey, Waxia people, be careful when passing the ball, don't kick it crookedly, you understand? Li Zhenghwan's golden yellow hair was covered with hair gel and combed neatly to the side. Under the sunshine, it was full of greasy feeling. Like AB****ch. Shi Xiaoyu felt sick in her heart. Are all people in Bang country so sissy? Where does it look like playing football? When talking to Shi Xiaoyu, Li Zhenwan deliberately used the half-baked Italian he had just learned, in order to show off his language skills. He expected that this Huxia person would not understand either. But when he was about to repeat his knowledge in English, Shi Xiaoyu answered him in fluent Italian. As long as you kick me hard, I will kick you seriously. Li Zhenghwan frowned, hummed softly, and then walked away with the ball in his arms. From a distance of 40 meters, he sent a long pass. The speed of this long pass is not fast, and the landing point is fairly accurate. If it falls normally, it will probably land 2 meters away from Shi Xiaoyu. Li Zhenghwan was very satisfied with his long pass. After the pass, he smoothed his hair and glanced at the coach Somarino who was watching from the side. Soriano, with his hands behind his back and a whistle around his neck, watched the 2 of them blankly. It's just that when his eyes followed the football, his eyes suddenly widened. Because Shi Xiaoyu didn't stop the ball directly, but when the ball was about to hit the ground, he swung his thigh and volleyed directly. The ball didn't hit the ground, and flew back again. This volley returns, the ball is extremely fast. He used the shooting technique, like a ball being shot out of the chamber, rushing towards Li Zhenghwan like a shooting star. Ouch! Li Zhenwan was still playing with his yellow hair a second ago, and he couldn't dodge in time. The ball hit him in the middle of the stomach. Soriano's eyes lit up. Immediately blow the whistle and suspend training. Episode 12. Another brutal surpass. You are Shi from Waxia Kingdom? Come here, you are with them. Soriano called Shi Xiaoyu over and put him in another group. In this group, there are several players who retired from the first team. Their level is a level higher than other players in the reserve team. Although Soriano was shocked by Shi Xiaoyu's volley return. However, he also wanted to see if this kick was covered. You three, form a triangle, the ball cannot land, pass back to each other. This is much more difficult than two people stopping the ball for a long pass. Shi Xiaoyu himself is at the level of Serie B playing with these players from the first team. It can be said that they are evenly matched and play like a duck in water. The pass between the three was very smooth. Some stopped the ball with their head and passed back, some stopped the ball with their knees, and Shi Xiaoyu used his usual volley to return the pass. Snapped, 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 snapped. The crisp sound of hitting the ball echoes on the court. Good, very good. The ball feels great. Soriano applauded while watching, full of praise. Shi Xiaoyu has no stage fright, passing one pass one after another, quite like an old player. On the other hand, the yellow-haired Li Zhenwan was very depressed. Since his partner, Shi Xiaoyu, was called over by the coach, no one cares about Li Yonghwan. He can only practice alone. After practicing twice, I suddenly felt a pain in my stomach. He was already holding back a shit, but just now Xiaoyu kicked him on his stomach, and suddenly he was full of shit. Just stuck in the *** hole, ready to come out. Teacher, coach, I want to ask for leave. Huh? Soriano was looking at the excitement when he was suddenly interrupted, feeling very unhappy in his heart. What's wrong with you? Training is only halfway through, where are you going? My stomach hurts, I want to shit. Li Yonghwan replied in his broken Italian while pointing tremblingly at the toilet next to the training ground. The scene was very quiet for a while, and then everyone burst into laughter. Soriano shook his head and waved him away. It's said that the people of Bang are very disciplined. What's wrong with this guy? He's about to shit after kicking for a while. Yeah, if you want to shit on the field, do you still need the referee to pause? Ha 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 ha. On the playing field, I can do it all the time. When I take off my pants, I will pull on the grass, and continue kicking after pulling. I'll go, you play the ball with flavor. With your personality, I believe you can do this. Everyone was laughing and laughing for a while, and they all started to laugh at this blonde, sticky, yellow-haired guy. Okay, I'll be quiet. Now, let's do confrontation exercises in groups. Soriano blew the whistle to split the reserves into two teams. Team confrontation is the highlight. The so-called group confrontation training is to divide the players on the field into two teams, simulate actual combat, and conduct interactive drills of defense and offense. When grouping, Somarino threw a yellow vest to Shi Xiaoyu. Shi, wear this and kick. The players who didn't get the yellow vest all cast envious eyes at Shi Xiaoyu. In the confrontation practice on the training ground, the yellow vest means the main players. The players not wearing the yellow vest are the substitutes. Although both the main players and the substitute players are conducting confrontation exercises on the field, the status of the two sides is different. Only those with high status, high order of appearance, and weight in the coach's heart can wear the yellow vest. Shi Xiaoyu volunteered to play the right winger position. His partner, the main striker, is roommate Veneto. Veneto walked over and whispered to Shi Xiaoyu. I'm a spot-grabbing center with poor dribbling skills and can't hold the ball for a long time. Whenever you have a chance to break through on the wing, it's best to cross the bottom and then I will grab some shots, you know? Quote. Shi Xiaoyu nodded. He knew that one of the responsibilities of a winger is to provide assists for the striker. He's also happy to have himself for his own business. His good friend sent cakes and helped him score a goal. A whistle blows, and the match begins. After several passes from the midfielder and defender of the main team, the midfielder passed the ball to Shi Xiaoyu. Seeing Shi Xiaoyu taking the ball, Veneto took the initiative to come over to cooperate with him. Unexpectedly, Shi Xiaoyu hurriedly waved at him, run to the restricted area and leave me alone. What Shi Xiaoyu meant was to tell Veneto to quickly go to the penalty area to be stronger, and he was about to break through. It was too late to say it, but Shi Xiaoyu performed his brutal surmounting again. He pushed the ball forward vigorously, and then chased the ball crazily with the speed of a sprinter. The field of the training ground is not big, a little smaller than the actual field. Although Shi Xiaoyu passed 3 people in a row with this kick, he is almost out of the bottom line. Soriano watched in bewilderment. How can anyone play football like this? Even if your ball passes and no one catches it, isn't this equivalent to a disguised clearance? He shook his head. He didn't expect that although the kid from Waxia had a good sense of the ball, he was a fool in actual combat. However, Shi Xiaoyu's speed far exceeded his expectations. He is like a cheetah, frantically chasing his football prey. Just when the ball was about to go out of the baseline, Shi Xiaoyu hooked the ball to the penalty area with a sliding tackle. At the same time, Veneto has just run to the penalty area line. Fortunately, he has a height advantage of 1.9 meters. Seeing that he could not reach the ball, he simply threw his body completely out and swung his long legs. With the black's unique body flexibility, Winnett's toes just touched the ball. The ball was redirected and the goalkeeper missed the save. Football was arrested. Veneto ran wildly through this road, and was so tired that he lay down on the lawn panting. Shi Xiaoyu ran over lightly and held out his hand to Veneto. Veneto, great job. This grab is too beautiful. Episode 13 Conquer the Coach. Conquer the Sports Director. Shi Xiaoyu's unreasonable and cruel way of surpassing others left everyone present dumbfounded. I just felt like there was a wind blowing around me, and then he appeared at the bottom line. The way this kid plays football is a bit evil. My speed is not slow. Usually when people do this, I want to get in first, but just now, I didn't even see his figure. He seems to be running faster than that ball, what the hell? Several players who were passed by Shi Xiaoyu whispered to each other. Coach Soriano was even more shocked. He froze in place, unable to believe his eyes. What happened just now? Head full of question marks. He tried to ask the physical coach beside him for confirmation. Did you see it just now? How did the ball pass? The fitness coach also opened his eyes wide. Boss, you wear glasses, so you can see better than me. Just now, that kid from Daxia just pushed the ball forward roughly, and rushed over. Soriano looked at Shi Xiaoyu, who was not strong, and was full of doubts. How could he be so fast? In fact, before training started this morning, Scout Aquilani had already given himself the scout report. Since Aquilani only saw Shi Xiaoyu in one game, he wrote the scouting report extremely concisely. Regarding Shi Xiaoyu's personal characteristics and technical characteristics, the records are not detailed. Just to highlight a few words. Extremely fast, good at forcing breakthroughs. Soriano looked at the scout report with only a few sentences in his hand, thinking that it was just Aquilani's polite words. Because Shi Xiaoyu's physical condition is not outstanding. He looked like a skinny student just out of high school. Standing among the tall and burly players in the reserve team, Shi Xiaoyu even seemed a bit cuddly. This is impossible. I have been teaching for more than 10 years. I can estimate a player's speed by looking at his body shape. According to the principles of sports science, extremely fast players have thick calves as support, but his legs are not strong when you look at them. Why can they explode at such an amazing speed? Soriano couldn't figure it out, so he folded the scout report in his hand and put it in his pocket, and told the physical coach. After the training is over, you will take him to the infirmary for a physical examination immediately. I need a medical examination report as detailed as that of the main players of the first team. Do you understand? Understood the boss. Make sure to check clearly. There is no video recording of the reserve team's training game, and only 2 people in the stands are watching the daily training. These 2 are none other than Aquilani, the famous scout who brought Shi Xiaoyu from Milan to Florence, and the club's sporting director, Morozo. The 2 sat in a corner of the stands, unobtrusive. They came here specially to observe Shi Xiaoyu's performance. Maluzzo didn't want to come at first. He is the club's sports director. He has a lot of daily affairs to deal with every day, and he doesn't have time to come to see a kid who is training for the reserve team. But Aguilar, you forced him to come here. Aquilani paid close attention to Shi Xiaoyu's performance the whole time, and while watching, he also recorded something in a small notebook. Until Shi Xiaoyu made a brutal breakthrough and completed the cross assist. Aguilar threw the notebook to the ground excitedly, shaking Maluzzo's shoulder vigorously. Did you see Morozo just now? What did I tell you? This kid definitely has the potential to play in the first team. We have discovered a new continent. Maluzzo is also extremely excited. Ha ha, my great scout, you are indeed an expert. I knew that the players you brought in must be right. Having worked as a sports director for many years, although Maluzzo is better at team management, as well as locker room control, he is no worse than Scout Aquilani when it comes to player abilities. Because before retiring, Maurizio was also a well-known professional player. He played more than 300 games for the Italian Milan duo and won 3 league championships. He is a real knife and a gun. He has fought on the court. In fact, when Shi Xiaoyu and several reserve team players passed the ball to each other before, Maurizio's eyes lit up. He clearly realized that the ball sense shown by Shi Xiaoyu is indeed superior. But that too was within Maurizio's expectations. Restricted by their stature, Asian players, especially East Asian players, tend to be good at their feet. Players with such technical characteristics are still very marketable in Italy. Because of the Italian football tradition, more emphasis is placed on tactics and less on personal skills. A player with good skills at his feet can be used as a technical supplement and reserve force for the team. But when Shi Xiaoyu showed his brutal speed, Mo Dusuo's heart was beating so hard that he almost jumped out. The perfect combination of technology and speed is simply a gift from God to the Florence club. What's more, Shi Xiaoyu is only 18 years old, a very young player. And according to Scout Aquilani, this person has not received professional training before and has been playing on the school team. This undoubtedly shows that there is still huge potential waiting to be tapped. I'm going to sign him and bring him to my office right after training. Good, I will definitely bring him. Hearing the decision of the team's sports director, Aquilani's eyes were full of relief. Signed another talented player for the club, and his sense of professional accomplishment spontaneously arises. Episode 14 High-End Medical Laboratory. In the next training confrontation, Shi Xiaoyu used his speed advantage as always. As soon as he gets the ball, he moves like a rabbit, and rushes out like a rocket. Even if the defensive team adopts double-team tactics, Shi Xiaoyu took advantage of the opportunity to find the gap between the two and kill a bloody path. In the entire training ground, no one can guard against him. And Veneto also enjoyed the bonus brought by Shi Xiaoyu's speed. He no longer has to run back and forth between midfielders at the opponent's penalty area line as before. With the help of Shi Xiaoyu's speed and breakthrough, he only needs to simply stand in the middle of the penalty area and hit the post center. Use your powerful body to get stronger. After the whole match, Shi Xiaoyu scored 3 goals and 7 assists, and 6 of these 7 assists went to Veneto. Accidentally, Veneto became a pie-eating genius. Seeing this scene, Soriano, head coach of the reserve team, clenched his fists excitedly. In the afternoon in Florence, the clouds were rising and the temperature was cool, but Samarillo was sweating profusely. He took off his gold-rimmed glasses, and the veins on his forehead popped out. Wonderful, it's really wonderful, these two people are simply a genius combination. Soriano saw clearly that the changes brought about by Shi Xiaoyu were subversive. This is the huge value that stars can produce. Because of the existence of Shi Xiaoyu, teammate Veneto, the center forward who is usually lazy on the court, was instantly activated with a huge potential in his body. If the fight continues like this, the two of them will enter the first team, just around the corner. What makes Soriano even more commendable is that Veneto and Shi Xiaoyu are supposed to meet for the first time. But the two seem to be old teammates who have been fighting together for several years, they have a tacit understanding, and they encourage and echo each other in the manufacture. This produces a 1+12 football chemical reaction. Such a chemical reaction is enough to make every football head coach excited. The 45-minute intra-team match ended quickly. Shi Xiaoyu, who was sweating profusely, wiped the sweat off his face with his arms, and was about to go back to the locker room to take a shower. But as soon as he took off his clothes and drenched in some water, the fitness coach rushed into the bathroom. Shi, I'll give you 3 minutes, get dressed quickly, and follow me to the medical examination room. Medical examination room. Hearing these 3 words, Shi Xiaoyu's wet body was shocked. Although he is not a professional player, Shi Xiaoyu, who has 2 lives, loved football in his previous life, and often watches sports news and games, knows in his heart what the 3 words, medical examination room, mean. Generally, if the players who come to the trial training are not favored by the team, they will not be able to enter the physical examination room at all. Entering the medical examination room means signing a formal contract with the team, only the last step. In other words, as long as the physical examination can pass, the player has not been found to have some congenital factors that affect sports, such as heart disease and cerebrovascular disease, etc., then this player will immediately sign a professional contract with the team. Shi Xiaoyu jumped up excitedly. I can finally realize my dream. The bathroom was a bit slippery. When Shi Xiaoyu landed on the ground, he didn't stand firm, and his feet kept slipping, making a big split. Fortunately, his flexibility is good. After the split, he sat firmly on the ground. It didn't hurt. The fitness coach on the side laughed. Son, don't get too excited. Put on your clothes and come to the medical examination room with me. The procedures behind this are complicated. Good, I'll be right there. Shi Xiaoyu wiped himself dry, changed into sportswear and a physical trainer, and headed to the physical examination room. The medical examination room of the Florence Club is different from the experience of ordinary people doing physical examinations. This is a medical laboratory specially built for athletes. Here, there are high-end instruments connected to the pulse and acupuncture points on the players. Using the most advanced detection technology at present, it can measure the physiological indicators of athletes very well. Shi Xiaoyu first sat on a pair of spinning bikes, with more than a dozen threads stuck to his chest and back. Okay, now according to the requirements, you cycle at a medium speed for 10 minutes. Okay, good. Keep your head up and your chest up, don't be rigid, relax your shoulders, and keep stepping. Very good, your indicators are very good, I will record them for you. When Shi Xiaoyu pedaled the bicycle according to the prescribed frequency, various colored numbers were constantly jumping on an LCD screen connected to the bicycle. Among them are Shi Xiaoyu's heart rate, chest resonance speed, breathing rate and sweat composition, etc. These indicators simulate the various chemical reactions that occur in the body of athletes when they run at a constant speed on the football field. Immediately, Shi Xiaoyu was taken to a 10-square-meter room, where she lay on a white bed. A beautiful blonde woman walked in with high heels. Episode 15 Strange physical examination also depends on the degree of occlusal teeth. The doctor's sister not only has beautiful blonde hair, but also has a pair of deep blue eyes with a pair of playful black-rimmed glasses. She crossed her hands, holding a big notebook in her arms, and walked in with high heels. "Hi, I'm a doctor from the Florence Medical Laboratory." Shi Xiaoyu's gaze was immediately attracted to her. The doctor's sister didn't wear the white coat in the hospital, but a tight black old uniform. She doesn't look like a doctor's sister, she is clearly a little secretary. The doctor came to Shi Xiaoyu, stretched out his slender hand, 5 fingernails were painted with bewitching red. This jade hand was placed gently on Shi Xiaoyu's chest. "Shi, take off your shirt." Take off your clothes?" When the doctor's sister came in, she closed and locked the door, and now she asked Shi Xiaoyu to undress again. These kinds of scenes can't help but let Shi Xiaoyu's imagination run wild. He looked at the curves of the nurse's sister Meowman, and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. "Take off your clothes quickly, hurry up, how can I check your body if you don't take off your clothes?" The doctor's sister put an instrument on Shi Xiaoyu's bedside, clamped the inspection line to Shi Xiaoyu's chest, and took out a white helmet. "Come on, put this helmet on." The doctor's sister looked at Shi Xiaoyu with deep blue eyes, with an unquestionable sense of command. Shi Xiaoyu had no choice but to obediently obey the doctor's orders, and took off her shirt, her body was naked, and a white helmet was put on her head. Lying in bed, it looks pretty funny. In fact, in Italy, or the entire European football world, such a detection method is not surprising. This helmet is an advanced high-tech product in the current football world. After the player wears the helmet can detect the player's brainwave changes. At the same time, prosecutors will play a series of football videos to the players. These videos involve the cheering of the players when they score goals, the needle pricking of the players when they are tackled, the shouting of the coaches on the sidelines, the crowds of fans celebrating in the stands, and so on. When players watch these pictures, there will be changes in brainwaves. If a player's brainwave fluctuates too much, it means that the person is too emotional. The rapid changes on the football field, with overly fluctuating emotions, are not conducive to the player's stable output of high-level performance. And the smoother the brainwave changes, the more stable the player's mood. For a good player, skills are only one aspect. Strong psychological quality is also an important factor for this player to continue to maintain a high level of performance and extend his career. Shi Xiaoyu has done a very good job in this aspect. No matter what kind of images the nurse sister plays to him, his brainwaves are always very stable and there are no big fluctuations. After all, he is a human being in 2 lives. At this time, although Shi Xiaoyu's body is 18 years old, his mind is already that of a middle-aged man in his 30s in his previous life. As a middle-aged person who has experienced society and beat 996 severely, Shi Xiaoyu's emotional stability is much stronger than that of a young man in his 20s. That is, when he inadvertently saw the curve of the doctor's sister's figure, his brainwaves occasionally fluctuated. "Wow, you are awesome. Statistics show that you are a player with a very stable mood. In time, you will definitely become a star." The nurse sister showed a sweet smile, gave Shi Xiaoyu a thumbs up, and hugged him. After these 2 important tests, Shi Xiaoyu also carried out a series of other tests. For example, the doctor will also check the degree of his teeth bite. Because there are medical data showing that players with poor teeth bite are often related to spinal roll. And the straightness of the spine will affect the balance of the player's body under high-intensity exercise. Various tedious inspections lasted almost 2 hours. After the examination, an exhausted Shi Xiaoyu walked out of the Florence Medical Laboratory. "I'll go. After all, it's a medical examination for a Serie A team. After this trip, it's more tiring than training." Shi Xiaoyu packed her bags and was about to go back to the dormitory. He bumped into Aquilani at the exit of the training base. "Hey, where have you been? I've been waiting for you for a long time." "Ah, Mr. Aquilani, I just came out of the medical examination room." "Physical examination?" Aquilani's eyes lit up, and then he laughed. "Unexpectedly, the club asked you to have a physical examination in such a hurry. However, it's okay, there must be a formal medical examination before the player officially signs a contract. This is also the process that our club has always implemented. You look healthy and I can assure you that there will be nothing wrong with your body." After all, Aquilani, with Shi Xiaoyu, walked to the sports director's office. As soon as the door was opened, it was Maurizio and the head coach of the reserve team, Soriano, who were sitting inside. Episode 16. You grew up in Italy. The club's scouting reserves head coach and sporting director come together. No need to explain, Shi Xiaoyu also knows what happened. If it is said that the trial training did not perform well, he was notified to leave. There is no need for the club to be present together. The only possibility is that he wants to sign a contract. Soriano, head coach of the reserve team, stood up with a smile all over his face and motioned for Shi Xiaoyu to take his seat. I read your physical examination report, and your indicators are very good. Florence Medical Laboratory, all reports are entered into the computer in real time. So just after Shi Xiaoyu finished the physical examination report was immediately printed and sent to the master Soriano. The report shows that Shi Xiaoyu's physical indicators are very stable. Although he is not a strong player, his muscle structure is very resilient. Moreover, the brainwaves are relatively stable, and the emotions are not easy to fluctuate. He is a player who can output stably under high pressure. Such a conclusion makes Soriano very happy. But one of them still made Soriano a little puzzled. Even though Shi Xiaoyu's physical indicators are very healthy and his muscles are very strong, his speed as fast as a sprinter is still somewhat beyond the tolerance range of his physical indicators. However, Soriano doesn't want to worry about these issues anymore. The top priority is to sign this player together with the sports director Maurizio. Maurizio looked at Shi Xiaoyu, a young man full of vigor, with admiration in his eyes. As the sports director of the Fiorentina club, every signing of the club's first team and reserve team, he must personally attend and sign professional contracts with players. Only after his signature can the professional contract have legal effect and represent the official position of the Fiorentina club to the outside world. Shi, let me tell you straight to the point, congratulations, you passed the trial training, we will sign a professional player contract with you. Okay, I'm willing to sign. Shi Xiaoyu agreed wholeheartedly. Becoming a professional player has always been his dream since childhood. In 2 lives, after graduating from university in the previous life, Shi Xiaoyu, like all young people in big cities, walked the old way of 996. Day after day, year after year, you will be a middle-aged man in his 30s in a blink of an eye. The pressure of life made him bow his head heavily, not daring to talk about his past dreams. Whenever he was watching TV on the sofa in the dead of night, as long as he recalled his childhood dreams, he would feel a dull pain in his heart. In this life, he can finally bravely pursue his dream. Ha ha ha, don't worry, let Maurizio show you the contract first. Aquilani, who was sitting next to Shi Xiaoyu, patted Shi Xiaoyu on the back kindly, and handed him the contract. We have 2 copies here, one in Italian and one in English. If you don't understand Italian, sign in English. Shi Xiaoyu took over 2 contracts, and he could understand them all. Only then did he realize that since Aquilani had spoken English to him in the first place, the two had been talking in English. And in Amoruso's conference room, in order to take care of Shi Xiaoyu, everyone also spoke English. It's time to show your language talent. Dear Aquilani, Veneto, Mr. Maurizio, I can speak Italian, and I can understand the Italian on the contract. Shi Xiaoyu was not only fluent, but also spoken in Milanese dialect, which instantly stunned the 3 people present. How do you speak Italian with a Milanese accent? Ever since he met Shi Xiaoyu, Aquilani has been speaking English with him, and he never thought that this kid could actually speak their native language. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I took Italian as an elective when I was at Waxia University, and our teacher is a native of Milan, so it's not surprising that my spoken Italian has a Milanese accent. The sports director, Maurizio, and the head coach of the reserve team, Soriano, looked at each other. Maurizio is a Frenchman. After he came to Italy many years ago and became a professional player, he became the sports director of Florence after years of hard work. After 30 years of traveling abroad, he can also speak Italian, but he still has a strong French accent, and his pronunciation is not as standard as Shi Xiaoyu. You kid, I've been in Italy for 30 years, why don't I speak Italian better than you? Veneto said firmly. Impossible, you probably grew up in Italy, right? Episode 17. A professional contract with an annual salary of 500,000. Shi Xiaoyu didn't want to quarrel with him about his Italian anymore, because if he spoke too much, he would give away his secrets. He looked at his contract carefully and frowned. The annual salary is 50,000 euros, and the contract is 4 years. Shi Xiaoyu had played a game called Football Manager in his previous life, and he knew that the contracts signed by clubs to players were not all the same. The first team has a first team contract, the reserve team has a reserve team contract, and the youth team has a youth team contract. Shi Xiaoyu's contract is specially prepared for the reserve team members, and some of the terms are different from those of the first team members. If you want to become a professional player, the first contract is very important. This determines the player's starting point. If the starting point is high enough to join the team as a first-team player, the future growth space will be very different from that of the reserve team. On the contrary, Shi Xiaoyu doesn't really care about the annual salary. In his opinion, €50,000 is high enough for him to live a normal life in Italy. All he wanted was a first-team contract. Shi Xiaoyu lightly pushed the contract to the table and sent it back to Maluzo. "How is it? Have you finished reading it? Then sign it quickly." Maluzo lit a cigar, smoked leisurely, and looked at Shi Xiaoyu kindly. "Sorry, Mr. Maluzo, I don't want to sign this contract." Shi Xiaoyu replied with a smile. "What, you don't want to sign?" Shi Xiaoyu's answer obviously exceeded everyone's expectations, especially Scout Aquilani. Although he has only been in contact with Shi Xiaoyu for a few days, he knows this young man very well. In Aquilani's opinion, although Shi Xiaoyu is only 18 years old, he has a strong longing for professional football. Aquilani is convinced that the young man's dream is to become a professional player. "Didn't you just say that you were in a hurry to sign the contract? Why, are you not satisfied with the terms of the contract?" Sports director Maluzo stroked his grey hair and took another deep breath of his cigar. The room was filled with the smell of cigars. "Young man," he tapped his hand lightly on the table, €50,000 is already a good salary. What the Fiorentina club can bring you is not only a salary, but also a large enough stage for display. Quote, "You should have a long-term vision, and you can't stick to small profits." Reserve team coach Soriano also echoed. He has been teaching for many years and has seen many players lose the room to grow as a professional player because of their stubborn demands for an excessively high salary. This profit-seeking phenomenon is especially evident among African players. Unexpectedly, Shi Xiaoyu from Asia also had the same idea, so those present were a little disappointed. Shi Xiaoyu guessed their thoughts. He was leaned back, tactically. "I'm not dissatisfied with the contract salary." "Then what do you think?" The three people present all stared at Shi Xiaoyu. They wanted to know what this young man from Waxia really thought. "I'm just dissatisfied with some of the terms. Tell me, Mr. Moruso, I'm very honored to join the Fiorentina club, but I want a first-team contract." First team. Maluzo obviously did not expect that Shi Xiaoyu would make such a request. He frowned, lost in thought. Aquilani hurriedly smoothed things over and said, "The form of the contract is not important. As long as it is in the Fiorentina club, every young player has a chance to make his mark, whether he is in the first team or the reserve team." Shi Xiaoyu said with a smile, "Mr. Aquilani, you are right. If that is the case, why don't you just give me a first-team contract?" Maluzo extinguished the cigar in his hand in the ashtray and looked at Shi Xiaoyu meaningfully. "Shi, I am the sports director of the club, and I have the right to sign any player with a first-team or reserve team contract. However, let me sign a series of contracts with you. You have to have a reason to convince me." "With my golf skills and my solid Italian language skills," Shi Xiaoyu blurted out. In his opinion, as a Huxier, he can gain a foothold in the Fiorentina club just by relying on his football skills, but this is far from enough to convince Maluzo to sign a contract with himself as a first-team player. He just showed his language talent to everyone, telling them, "I can speak Italian, I can integrate into the local culture, and I can integrate with the team." Maluzo froze for a moment, then laughed. "Shi, you are such a smart boy. That's right, if just relying on your skills in trial training today, it's not enough for you to sign a first-team contract. But with your accent, which is more Italian than Italian, I can trust you." After all, Maluzo took back the original contract, took out another contract from the drawer, and wrote and drew on it. "It's a new contract, first team." Shi Xiaoyu took a look and was overjoyed. The annual salary is €500,000, and the contract is 5 years. Entering the first team, not only has the annual salary leaped tenfold, but the platform is completely different from the reserve team. Shi Xiaoyu solemnly signed his name on it. Shake hands with Moruso to celebrate. Episode 18:20 Numerical points, just add them. After Shi Xiaoyu signed his first professional contract, he walked alone in the training base in Florence in high spirits. Florence, which has a Mediterranean climate, is warm in winter and cool in summer, and the 4 seasons are like spring. The breeze is blowing, so pleasant. Congratulations to the host for signing the first contract of his career. The pay system rewards 20 value points. Numerical points can be arbitrarily assigned to each ability value by the host. Shi Xiaoyu smiled knowingly. He now understands that this live football system will give corresponding rewards every time he reaches a certain stage. 20 numerical points is not too little, and they can be distributed arbitrarily, which is really great. In front of Shi Xiaoyu's eyes, his football template emerged. Shi Xiaoyu. Height, 1.78 meters. Weight, 65 kilograms. Age, 18. Speed, 99. Strength, 60. Stamina, 61. Shots, 58. Passes, 50. Dribbles, 75. Balance, 60. Vision, 55. Bounce, 45. Overall evaluation, Serie B level. It may be because he has sent a lot of assists before, and his passing and dribbling data have improved in a small range. But how should these 20 numerical points be distributed? Since his speed value has already reached 99, it cannot be increased any further. Therefore, Shi Xiaoyu wants to allocate these 20 numerical points to shooting. Because he is a front-court player, in order to get ahead in the team, in addition to assists, he must also score more goals himself. With a shooting level of only 58, it is barely enough in Serie B or lower levels. But when it comes to Serie A, I'm afraid I have to E every game. How about adding 20 points directly, from 58 to 78? Shi Xiaoyu adjusted the shooting value to 78, and was about to press the confirmation button, but hesitated for a moment. After the system value is changed, can it be restored and made a second change? Answer the host, please add points carefully. Once confirmed, it cannot be changed. The conversation with the system made Shi Xiaoyu press the cancel button. He must know what kind of position he plays in the team and what arrangements the head coach has for him. If the head coach concentrates on arranging himself to break through on the wing and create opportunities for his teammates, then obviously, adding these 20 points to dribbling may have a better effect. Fiorentina's first team coach is Montella. This is a young coach who is only 38 years old. Montella became famous in Rome, scored 141 goals in Serie A and won the Serie A championship. Shi Xiaoyu originally wanted to talk to Montella, but unfortunately Montella hasn't arrived yet. Why don't you discuss it with Scout Aquilani? He should know me best. When Shi Xiaoyu saw Aquilani, he was packing his bags in his office. Mr. Aquilani, where are you going? Aquilani stuffed his luggage into the suitcase while looking at Shi Xiaoyu kindly. Son, I'm going to Brazil in South America right now. Oh, you just came back from Africa, and now you're going to Brazil again. Yeah, my job is a professional scout, and the job of a scout is to find all kinds of new stars around the world. Especially a gifted child like you. Aquilani put the backpack on his back and patted Shi Xiaoyu's back heavily. Mr. Aquilani, before you leave, I would like to take a few minutes of your time to ask you some questions. Okay, tell me if you have any questions. There are still 7 days before the start of the season. I heard that the new coach is Montella, but I can't see him at the moment. I want to ask him what are the requirements for his tactical play. In the remaining 7 days, what should I do? In which direction are you working hard? Seeing Shi Xiaoyu's earnest eyes, Aquilani smiled and put down the backpack again. Very well, very few young players have this kind of self-motivation. Since you asked, I'll talk to you. Aquilani analyzed in detail Coach Montella's favorite tactics. When Montella was young, he was known as a small plane. He was a very agile second striker and scored many goals during his time in Rome. After becoming a coach, he inherited his experience as a player, focusing on passing and controlling, and has high requirements on the skills of the players. Agula, you take out the simple tactical board from your backpack and make gestures on it. At the same time, he asked the players to run back and forth between small areas, create gaps, and play 2-to-1. Shi Xiaoyu nodded. You mean I need to improve my running and dribbling skills? Aquilani shook his head. No, you need to improve your passing. I watched some of your training. Although your crosses after a quick breakthrough are fairly accurate, you have to understand that in Serie A, the defenders are old-fashioned, and it is impossible to give you such a large space. According to Montella's tactical requirements, players must intersperse and run in a small area. At this time, players who can pass deadly through balls must be deeply loved by him. Dear readers, the data is not very ideal, but please don't miss it when you pass by. Support Lao Huo a lot. Lao Huo must stick to it, and don't be a eunuch halfway. Thank you everyone. Episode 19 Can't Stand the Lonely Veneto. Aquilani looked at Shi Xiaoyu meaningfully. Your long pass is not bad, but there is still a lot of room for improvement in the small through pass. If you have the heart, in the remaining few days, you must practice the small scale through ball. Having said that, Aquilani suddenly paused and smiled awkwardly. But this is not easy to practice. It has to be honed slowly in the game, and the players realize the experience. It's impossible to practice just relying on a few people to pass the ball back and forth. Aquilani silently put away the tactical board. Okay kid, that's all I can say. I have to go again. I've been here for half a year. I hope I can see a different you when I return to Daxia for Christmas. As the club scout, I have brought you to Florence, and the rest is up to you. You must remember to have a cheerful personality, communicate with teammates and coaches more, and don't be a boring gourd. Shi Xiaoyu nodded heavily, made a traditional Huxia clasping gesture to Aquilani, and then bowed deeply. Thank you for your teaching, Mr. Aquilani. I know the direction of my future efforts. At the gate of the training base, after watching Aquilani drive away, Shi Xiaoyu immediately woke up the pace system and added all 20 points to his pass. There are still 7 days left before the summer training time for the new season. The so-called summer training refers to the half-month to 1-month training time before the start of the new season. In the Italian Serie A, the game usually starts in early September, and players enter the training camp in August to start training. The purpose of the summer training is to wake up the players' physical and mental will from the lazy vacation, allowing them to recover various physical functions during training. Because apart from a very small number of self-disciplined players, most of the players either ate, drank, or traveled around during the holidays after the end of last season. 3 meals a day and work and rest are also irregular. In this case, the athletes will gain body weight, and as their body fat percentage increases, their physical condition will also decrease. The most obvious is physical fitness. There is an old saying, if you don't practice for a day, you will know it. If you don't practice for 3 days, your teammates will know. If you don't practice for 7 days, your opponent will know. Most players will not participate in regular training during the more than 1-month break. There are 38 rounds in the league. If you don't prepare your physical reserves in summer training, it will be difficult to win the 38-round protracted battle. There are still 7 days before the summer training match, and most of the main team's main players are still on vacation, and they haven't ended their vacation. As for Shi Xiaoyu and Veneto, because they were directly promoted from the reserve team, they came to the training base early and lived in the dormitory. The two were lying on the bed board, watching a local Italian talk show on the TV in the dormitory. At this moment, the live football system in Shi Xiaoyu's mind sounded again. Attention the host! Attention the host! The 7-day summer training camp starts now, and the reward package is great. As long as the host trains hard on the training ground, after each training session, you can get 13 points reward. Zhu Xiaoyu, who had been slumped on the bed, jumped up with a carp, which shocked Veneto. God, what's wrong with you? It's like being punched by someone. Shi Xiaoyu's eyes widened, recalling the system's reminder just now. 7 more days, 7 more days. You must hurry up and train to increase your points. Although often and just got the 20 points of the system, the comprehensive evaluation given in the live football model is still at the level of Serie B. Why not take advantage of these 7 days, hurry up to train and improve the value, and raise the level to the Serie A level? He wants to make a good impression on Coach Montella. After all, Fiorentina is in Italy, but it is a club in the middle and upper reaches. Shi Xiaoyu wants to play the main force, but without a comprehensive evaluation at the Serie A level, it's impossible. Because the dormitory is deserted, Veneto, who is from Africa and loves to dance and sing, can't bear the loneliness. Shi, do you want to go to some fun places? Where are you going? Shi Xiaoyu asked. Veneto smiled wretchedly, revealing his white teeth under his dark face. To tell you the truth, I have lived here for a long time. Although Florence is not big, it is a city famous for its bars and discos in Italy. At 9:30 tonight, go to the nightclub with me, and meet those beautiful blonde girls, how about it? Episode 20 Nightclubs have their rules. For whatever reason, players from Africa love playing with blondes from Western Europe. Many African players with big arms, round waists and fierce faces took a blonde with a slim figure and a good face. The media often likened it to Beauty and the Beast. In Florence, although the media industry is not as developed as Milan and Rome, there are still many tabloids that are willing to report such news. They often follow the players, follow them to nightclubs, and take some photos secretly. Whenever the game day ends at night, the tabloid reporters who stay on the sidelines and stay at the entrance of the nightclub can always get a lot of gains. And people in Italy who like gossip are also keen to buy such newspapers. Quite a few drunken players came out of the nightclub with their left and right arms around the blonde, thinking they were deceiving, and then took a taxi to a mysterious place. Although the players are good at disguising, despite wearing masks and black hats, the sharp-eyed tabloid paparazzi can always recognize which team players they are at a glance. After all, they are strong and well-paid football players, and these lace news always accompany them. Let me tell you, last month, I just met a white girl as tall as me at a local nightclub. Veneto smacked his mouth. Oh, this girl's figure is quite straight, her long golden hair flutters on my face, and I fell into her body fragrance all at once. Speaking of this, Veneto fell into his intoxicated memory, his eyes began to dim, and his body collapsed onto the bed. But Shi Xiaoyu hesitated for a moment. The director of sports specifically told me that once you enter the summer training camp, you have to implement closed training. During this period, players cannot enter and exit the gate at will. Quote, Veneto laughed out loud and looked at Shi Xiaoyu like a monster. You are such an antique. The uncle who opened the door locked the door. We will not climb over the wall to get out. We are all athletes, and it is not easy to climb over the wall. Shi Xiaoyu is no stranger to climbing over the wall. In his previous life, he studied in a closed boarding school in high school. When he was under a lot of pressure, he went over the wall with a few best buddies to surf the internet all night. For this reason, I was scolded by the teacher a lot. In this life, he has finally signed a professional contract with the Fiorentina club. He doesn't want to be addicted to the colorful world and lose his original intention as a professional player. There are only 7 days until the summer training starts. He must hurry up and train to get more numerical points from the system. Veneto, I won't go to the nightclub, I want to have a good rest. If you want to go, you can go alone. Although Shi Xiaoyu rejected Veneto, Veneto has a thick skin and has been stalking Shi Xiaoyu. Let me tell you, if you want to integrate into the local life, you have to go to nightclubs. If you don't go to nightclubs, what kind of football player are you? Shi Xiaoyu couldn't resist Veneto's stalking, so she reluctantly agreed to him. Okay, I'll go with you, but I explained that I don't drink alcohol, only drinks, and more. Only this time, you don't want to call me out tomorrow. Okay, my big star, don't even drink your drinks. It's not good to drink too much carbonated drinks. Just drink water. Seeing Shi Xiaoyu being ground down by himself, a smile broke out on Veneto's face. So the two took off the team's training clothes, put on casual clothes, and went over the wall to the nightclub. Unlike Daxia, Italy has nightclubs dotted all over. This is not just a place for drinking and dancing, but a social place where men and women gather. The nightclub Veneto took Shi Xiaoyu to is the most famous nightclub in Florence. At 9:30, when the lights came on, the number of pedestrians on the road gradually decreased, but this nightclub was brightly lit. Men usually wear shirts and trousers, while women wear black skirts and high heels. It's like going to a banquet. Everyone lined up at the entrance quietly, and as soon as the nightclub opened, they filed in an orderly manner. Veneto is an old driver in this respect. He brought Shi Xiaoyu to the bar directly. He ordered 2 bottles of beer, while Shi Xiaoyu ordered a bottle of lemonade. The two were hanging out in the nightclub. Veneto's eyes, like a night scanner, quickly scanned the single beauties in the nightclub. Suddenly, Veneto's eyes lit up. Hey look, there's an Asian girl over there. Looking in the direction Veneto pointed, Shi Xiaoyu saw an Asian girl with black and long straight hair, sitting alone in a booth drinking wine. Against the backdrop of all the blonde girls, this Asian girl with long black hair looks particularly eye-catching. Just as Veneto was about to strike up a conversation, he saw 2 men sitting around the Asian girl. Damn, someone got on top. Damn it. Although Veneto is lustful, he also understands the rules of nightclubs. This Asian girl is being accosted by others. If she goes there rashly at this moment, it will be a tiger's mouth. Maybe she will conflict with those 2 men. Shi Xiaoyu sarcastically said, Hey, aren't you very capable? Why, there are 2 people on the other side, and you are alone, so I'm afraid. Isn't there me? Veneto glanced at Shi Xiaoyu and rolled his eyes. Afraid? Am I a person who is afraid? This is called a rule. Look, as long as those 2 men don't succeed in flirting with Asian girls, I'll make up for it right away. Shi Xiaoyu and Veneto just chatted without saying a word. At this time, the Asian girl was sitting on the deck, and there was a faint cry. Let me go, let me go. Shi Xiaoyu's ears trembled. Although the girl's voice was not loud, he could hear it clearly. Because, this is a sentence in Huxia.